What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Starseed. Today, in the background, we've got a little bit of Rollerdrome. I wouldn't say I'm the greatest at this game. You're gonna see, I just play a bunch of video games, y'all. If you know my channel, you've seen any of my videos, you know I'm not the greatest MLG player of all time, but god dang it, I do my best. Anyways, today we're talking about why it's okay to not be perfect and why perfection is something that you probably shouldn't be striving for. Not that it's not attainable. I mean, I think certain things can be perfect, but there's very little room for things in this life to be perfect, if that makes sense. So I would say, you know, you don't always have to have things figured out. It's actually more relatable and more, I would say, human to not have things figured out. Shit, I don't have most things figured out most of the time. I may seem like it to maybe my friends, my peers, but I don't have things figured out all the time. And if I do, it's because I've planned heavy or I've already had this plan in my head, but most of the time I'm just out there winging it. But I do think that perfection is something that is just hard to obtain. It's a very, I wouldn't say unobtainable, but it's just a very improbable thing to try and go and obtain. And like I said, I don't think people should be striving for that. I've definitely struggled a share in my life, just, trying to be perfect and trying to be the best at anything that I'm in, trying to be the best basketball player or trying to be the best content creator as I currently am, or just trying to be the best person that I am. But even I'm not perfect. I don't have a perfect, behavioral pattern. I don't have a perfect content schedule. I don't have a perfect damn near anything. Like, listen, as far as basketball goes, I am not a very tall person. I would say I am a very average height person, but the thing that has gotten me through to be actually being pretty good at basketball, if anybody's seen any of my, first person, my little basketball highlights, I'm not too bad at basketball. I would say I'm better than the average person. I would say I'm better than the average person that plays basketball like regularly, I would say. And that's just because I decided to start. One day I just decided basketball was a great thing and I enjoyed it a lot ever since I was a kid, and I decided to start playing. But I started to look at different players that weren't the tallest and didn't have the greatest athleticism. I'm not saying I'm not athletic. I'm pretty athletic, I'd say, especially for my height. I can jump out the gym a little bit, but I wouldn't say like I'm Duncan or I'm like Russell Westbrook or anybody that's like a crazy athletic player. I'm more a skill finesse kind of player, and that's just all due to me doing research and just emulating in my game and just starting and not caring about what other people have to say. And I think that for lack of better terms, I think ball is life, and I think a lot of different things in life can be attributed to basketball and either how you play or how you carry yourself in basketball. And I think just like basketball, life is like all about just starting and trying not to let other people's opinions, run you down in the way that you play or the way that you see your life going. I would say that limitations sometimes force development in places that your natural talent would never take you. So if you're already perfect at something, then you have no way to improve. But again, I don't think perfection is really something that's that achievable. So would you ever really be perfect, or would you always just be striving to continue to be better? Real questions, man. Just something that I'd be thinking about. But as far as just life in general, and maybe even, your professional career or work or anything of that nature, you're gonna be in relationships or friendships where, you may not be the best version of yourself. And I wouldn't say it's on your friends or family to be patient with you or, give you grace, but it definitely helps. It definitely helps. And especially if you do mean that you want to become a better person or become this quote unquote perfect person that you strive to be, or whatever, however you see yourself, whatever you see yourself being, it's going to take time, and it's going to take actual actions and changed behaviors to achieve what you're trying to achieve. You're definitely not the person that you started off as in your journey to achieve being the person that you want to be. And you're not the person that you are yet, that you want to achieve to be. You're just not there. You're too, it's going to sound crazy, but simultaneously, like, you're a whole different person from when you started to where you are now and to where you will be eventually. It's just a crazy concept to think about. It's just starting. Just going back to starting is like the biggest point. It's never really about becoming the perfect person or the perfect model that you see yourself to be. It's just about becoming a better person than you were yesterday. And sometimes even I struggle with that. I think that maybe my friends or my families have these expectations of me, and even I have expectations of myself, but I'm trying to live up to my own expectations at the end of the day. I don't really live for anybody else, but I'm sure soon I will when I start, having a family, having kids of my own, and, people that rely on me. But as far as right now, I kind of just live for myself, and I'm kind of governing myself into the person that I want to be and the man that I want to be. But even sometimes, even recently, I fall into actions or, decisions that might not align with the person that I want to be. And that's okay. If you're listening to this and you've done something that, doesn't align with who you want to be, but it's aligned with who you were, it's okay. That altogether, that person is still you. And those past versions of you, or the version of you that you're trying to, leave in the past, it's still there and it's still a part of your story. I wouldn't shy away from it, or I wouldn't be ashamed of it. I would just say that you're learning, and you're learning to, fix these behaviors, and you're trying to better yourself. So it's all about progress. It's never really about perfection. It's all about progress, not perfection, guys. Nobody is perfect. I don't think it's fair to sit there and strive for, perfection in yourself or people. I think especially if you have a partner, having a partner that is just as fallible as you, maybe in other, sections of your life, or other things that you probably are better in or worse in. It's that culmination and that spice of life that really creates something special between humans. Everybody's different, and if we were all perfect at life, I feel like this would be pretty boring. So I would say, stay ambitious, stay in a growth mindset. I would say stay able to learn, and don't think that you always know everything, because you don't. And if you think you do, it's probably somebody that knows just a little bit more than you. I would say my imperfections have definitely helped me, and I think they definitely can help a lot of other people too. Maybe not all of them, but I would say sometimes I'm a little impatient, and that pushes me into action, which, some other people might overthink. I am a bit impulsive sometimes, but I wouldn't say I'm like, what's the word I'm thinking of? I wouldn't say that I'm irresponsible. I just would rather take action than not, and I think, like I said, I think a lot of people tend to overthink. And as I've been saying this entire time, I think the biggest thing here is to just start, whether it's a professional journey, career journey, artistic journey, just like with my YouTube channel. Like, I don't think I make the best content ever. I think that my content is actually low-key kind of mid, but if you guys enjoy it, I'm putting it out. I'm trying. I'm just starting, and not everything has to be a Hollywood production, and not everything has to be like perfect spick and span, like, I'm just trying my best out here, man. I'm trying to make as much content as I can and just keep you guys entertained. And I hope it's doing something. Hope it's doing something for you guys. I think there's an irony in perfection. I think the people that we admire most are remembered for how they actually handle flaws and failure and adversity, and even myself, I think of myself as somebody that's been through a lot of adversity and, battling my own flaws. And I think that my confidence in my regular life just comes from knowing that I've been able to always figure it out. It's not that I was perfect, or not that I was like always good at something. God knows that there's very little things that I actually was just naturally good at. And so, the goal is always just becoming better while accepting that you'll never be finished. Nobody lives perfect lives, and perfect lives aren't that interesting, if I'm being honest. You guys think that, these, for lack of a better term, I'm sorry if you're watching my content and you're like a super spoiled rich kid that never had to really grind for anything in their life, like silver spoon, but do you think their lives are interesting? I'm sure they lead maybe happier, better lives because they've just got a lot of money, but I wouldn't say their lives are more interesting. They never had to really get it out the mud like me, or maybe even you. And so, perfection is sterile. I think that growth is messy, and it's supposed to be. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy that, you will make mistakes. You will mess up. Sometimes you will lose friends, and sometimes you will lose opportunities just because you aren't where you want to be yet, or where you see yourself to be. Just enjoy the journey while it's here, because it can so easily leave you. And there's a lot of people that they can't even strive for anything anymore because they just aren't here. Don't overthink. It becomes very, very, very messy in your head when you start to overthink and think that you need to be this perfect ideal person, or this perfect ideation of what you think a perfect person is, or what maybe somebody else thinks a perfect person is. You're not here to live for anyone else but yourself, unless you're in a community or you have a family that you got to look after. But other than that, you're here for yourself. So make the decisions that make you happy, and don't worry about being perfect, guys. I don't know if I feel like I've said being perfect like a million times here now, but that's it. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope I didn't yap too much, but I'll catch you guys in the next video. Starseed out.